Well, yesterday Trump dropped a tariff bomb, and Bitcoin just shrugged it off. The price shot up to $88,000, then calmly slipped back to $84,000, and you know what? We're back in consolidation zone textbook style. This is the moment when BTC and altcoins move sideways before a major breakout. And I'll prove to you that we're on the right track. Today we'll break down why the panic is overblown, how tariffs might actually work in our favor, what the whales are doing, and why now is not the time to jump out of the game. Let's dive in, subscribe, smash that like button. And by the end you'll understand why I believe in this market, despite all the chaos.
3, 2, 1, fire!
April 2nd, 2025, Trump took the stage at the White House and slammed, "In a few minutes, I will sign a historic executive order on reciprocal tariffs for all countries. They take from us, we take from them. It's simple." And he signed 10% base tariff on all imports, 34% on China, 20% on the EU, 46% on Vietnam, 32% on Taiwan, according to Reuters and CNBC. The scale is insane. The American stock market is going crazy. April 3rd became the worst day in the last 4 years. Worst in terms of how hard the stock market collapsed. Just think about it. 2.85 trillion outflow from the stock market. Those are just unreal numbers. And it seems this is only the beginning, because the trading session, at the time of recording this video, isn't even over yet. Crypto didn't stay behind either. Both Bitcoin and all altcoins started falling into the abyss. Just look at this. The market looks absolutely drained. But let's take a closer look at what exactly happened 2 days ago. Bitcoin shot up to $88,000 on rumors of soft 10%, but after the speech dropped to $83,000 within hours. However, despite all the panic, it seems that the crypto market is feeling much better. Look at this. When the stock market fell by $3 trillion, crypto showed a drop of only $172 billion. That's obviously a huge amount of money. But if you compare it to stocks, the situation looks much better. And I think the worst is already behind us. Why do I say the worst is behind us? Because Trump went all in right from the start. Such tariffs are like an explosion. Everything from phones to sofas in the US will become 30 to 40% more expensive. Think about your desk, your headphones. America won't be able to handle this for long. Inflation is bound to spike to 3.5%. People will start complaining, and Trump will have to ease his grip. He himself said, "This is the day of liberation." But for whom? China is already preparing a response. The Europe promises counter tariffs, and soon the bargaining will begin. My opinion, this was the peak of panic and BTC survived it. If the price holds at $82,000 to $83,000 after such a blow, that means the bottom is close, and I see the light at the end of the tunnel. First of all, the Fed will most likely lower rates, which should have a very positive effect on the market. We should see easing of rates, which in turn will positively encourage people to take loans, invest, buy property, and so on. Such a state of the economy always positively affects investments and risk assets like cryptocurrency. Besides, Trump made it very clear that this is not the final version of tariffs. And he will revise them if countries reach out and also reduce or completely remove their tariffs in response. And now we are at the worst point, at maximum panic. So any future easing will be perceived as a strong upward push. Let's take a look at the chart and break down what's happening. Since the FTX crash in 2022, BTC has followed a clear cycle: rapid rise, pullback, consolidation zone, and then a jump up. At the beginning of 2023, we started at $16.5 thousand, climbed to $31,000 by mid-year, and dipped to $25,000 in August. Everyone screamed, "It's over!" But what happened? Sideways movement for 2 months, bouncing between $26,000 and $29,000, and then growth to $42,000 by the end of the year. Now it's the same. A pullback from $109,000 in December, a fake out to $88,000 yesterday, and a calm $84,000 today. Why do I believe we can't go much lower than $75,000 per Bitcoin? CoinGlass shows Futures funding rates are green. Leverage is at a minimum. There's no one left to liquidate. In December 2024, the map was red from overheated positions, but now, calm, like the sea after a storm. Let's go back to history. In 2017, Trump started with tariffs. Remember that? The market was shaking until April, and then BTC surged from $1,000 to $19,000, nearly 20 times in a year. Now the scale is different. Market cap is bigger, but the principle is the same. Consolidation always ends in a rally. In 2021, after a sideways range around $30,000, we jumped to $69,000. And that was just the beginning. Today's $84,000 as of April 2025 isn't the bottom of the pit, but a launch pad for takeoff. My opinion, we are in a waiting zone, and I'm betting on $100,000 plus by summer. History is on our side. Now a broader view, let's talk about global signals. Global M2 money supply has been rising since January 2025, and the dollar started weakening after Trump's tariff bomb yesterday. Why is this important? In 2017, M2 growth pushed BTC to $20,000. In 2021, to $69,000. And each time, the peak matched a surge in liquidity. Now the dollar is falling. DXY dropped 1.2% in one day, according to Bloomberg. Europe and China are preparing their own tariffs. And this is shaking the traditional markets. CoinDesk writes, when the dollar weakens, investors flee to BTC like it's gold. And I agree. Look at the M2 chart. In 2023, it spiked from April, and BTC delivered plus 150% by year-end. Now we're at the start of a similar move. By May-June, liquidity will surge, and I see $120,000 on the horizon. Yesterday, everyone feared inflation from tariffs. But what if it actually fuels crypto instead? Trump wants a strong America, but he might unintentionally launch BTC to new heights. My opinion, panic is just noise, but M2 and the dollar, that's the music for a bull market. We'll still see $150,000 by the end of 2025 if the cycle repeats. And now take a look at this. While the market is shaking from Trump's tariffs, institutions are quietly doing their thing. Bitcoin dropped to $83,000. High liquidation levels scared traders, but big players aren't panicking. They're accumulating BTC like nothing happened. Let's break down what's happening behind the scenes and why this might be our signal. Let's keep going. This is important. ETFs worldwide currently hold 1.3 million BTC. That's 6.2% of the total supply, and the number is growing. 2 years ago, they had 0. Now it's 1/6 of all coins. Why do institutions continue to believe in cryptocurrency, and in Bitcoin specifically? Why do they do this when everyone is screaming, "It's over"? Because institutions see what we don't. In 2022, when BTC fell to $16,000, MicroStrategy bought $400 million. And then what? The price surged to $110,000 in a year. Now it's the same. Trump's tariffs are short-term chaos, but whales see 2025 as a bullish year. Glassnode shows the amount of BTC in institutional cold wallets rose 8% since January. That's $10 billion in coins. They're not just holding, they're preparing for a breakout. And there are banks too. JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs are testing BTC futures for clients, and PayPal added Solana and Chainlink for 200 million US users. This is a signal that crypto is going mainstream. My opinion, institutions see BTC as a hedge against inflation and trade wars. When the dollar wobbles, they'll be in profit. Yesterday's drop didn't scare them. On the contrary, it was their chance to buy cheaper. I believe, while we panic, whales are building the foundation for $120,000 plus by year-end. Now let's move on to the coins that I find very promising even during this dip. As promised, here we're going to talk about the latest exciting and, most importantly, very important news for all your favorite altcoins. So sit back and let's get started. Friends, hold on tight, because Solana is buzzing so hard right now it's shaking the ground. This coin is a real rocket shooting straight for the stars, and I've got the freshest updates that'll make your eyes light up. ETFs, new projects, insane numbers, everything's here to make you scream to the moon. Let's break down what's going on with Sol and why this is our chance to cash in. Subscribe, hit like, and let's go chase those cosmic profits. First piece of news, absolute mind blower. Kristen Smith, CEO of the Blockchain Association, is dropping everything and joining the Solana Policy Institute. The block reports that this happened on April 1st, and no, it's not a joke. Solana is pulling in top-tier players, and that's a huge green flag for institutional money. Billions are coming soon. Also, BlackRock has expanded its Boodle fund to include Solana. $1.7 billion in assets already in the game. This isn't just a fund, it's a stamp of quality, shouting, Solana is the future. I see the price pushing past 200 plus this year. Now let's talk ETFs. It's pure fire. Fidelity has filed a spot Solana ETF application via CBOE and also registered the fund in Delaware. This is the same giant with $16.5 billion in Bitcoin ETFs, and now they want Sol. Plus, yesterday, April 3rd, Volatility Shares launched the first futures ETFs for Solana, SOLZ and SOLT with 2x leverage. Yes, the volume is still modest, but it's just the warm-up before the spot ETF boom. Imagine, traditional investors will get a taste of Solana, and the price could see a very decent jump. Subscribe if you believe in this breakout. Next, new projects that honestly shocked me. Solana is preparing Accelerate, a major event in New York this May, where they'll unveil Seeker, a blockchain smartphone. This isn't just a phone, it's a revolution in mass adoption. Also, PumpSwap, a new DEX from Pump.Fun, hit $1.5 billion in volume in just a week. That's 21% of the Solana DEX market. The ecosystem is growing like it's on steroids despite market conditions, and I feel Solana is about to dominate. Here are a couple more bullish facts for you. Circle minted 250 million USDC on Solana. That's fuel for DeFi. The number of addresses on the network hit 11.12 million, an all-time high. And transaction fees have dropped to their lowest since September 2024. Using Solana is now cheaper than ever. It's a magnet for users. So, friends, Solana isn't just a coin, it's a whole universe ready to explode upward. ETFs from giants, projects like Seeker and PumpSwap, wild metrics, this is our ticket to the stars. Not financial advice, but in my opinion, Solana is ready to crush everything in its path. Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like, and see you at the top. Well, we've just broken down how Solana is ripping through the market, and now it's time to move on to the news about everyone's favorite, XRP. This coin isn't falling behind and looks ready to show its strength. ETFs, cosmic plans, and wins against the SEC. Let's dive into what's going on with XRP and why this could become the hottest topic in the near future. First piece of news, something very interesting. CBOE has filed the 19B4 form for the Franklin XRP ETF. That means the spot ETF from Franklin Templeton is on the way, and traditional investors may soon be able to gain exposure to XRP. And there are rumors that the SEC is reviewing XRP as a commodity, similar to Ethereum. If that's confirmed, all regulatory barriers could fall. And I can see the price surging to 3+ this year. Now, about the battle with the SEC, things are heating up. Bitnomial just launched XRP futures contracts on April 3rd, fully approved by the CFTC, and withdrew its lawsuit against the SEC. It all started in October 2024, when the SEC tried to claim jurisdiction over those futures, but Bitnomial pushed back successfully. Also, Ripple has reached a settlement with the SEC. The fine was reduced from $125 million to $50 million, and the appeal has been withdrawn. Media sources report that the SEC is asking Judge Torres to lift extra restrictions on Ripple. This looks like a clear road for XRP, and I feel like $5 is not far away. Now let's talk numbers, and they're beautiful. Sentiment reports that whales holding over 1 million XRP now control 46.4 billion tokens. That's a plus 6.5% increase in just 2 months. Address activity is skyrocketing, which hints that the big players are preparing for something major. I believe we could see serious price action this summer. Here's a wow headline for you. Jed McCaleb, co-founder of Ripple, through his company Vast, is planning to launch a space station called Haven 1 and compete for a NASA contract in 2026. Cointelegraph says this is a billion-dollar project that could take XRP to a whole new level. Imagine XRP in space. And finally, Ripple has integrated a stablecoin into its Ripple payment system. That means faster and cheaper global transactions for businesses around the world. The stablecoin is already live, and I can see this pushing XRP to new heights in the future. So, XRP is following Solana's lead and proving it's not just buzzing, it's ready to blow up the market. ETFs, victory over the SEC, space tech, and stablecoins. That's a serious recipe for a moonshot. Not financial advice, but in my opinion, XRP is ready to surprise everyone. Now that we've covered how XRP is gaining momentum, let's move on to a name you all know. Internet Computer, or ICP. This project isn't standing still, and I've gathered the freshest news of 2025 that shows why ICP is worth your attention. New technologies, AI, and more. There's a lot to see here. Let's break down what's happening and how it might affect the price. Subscribe, hit that like button, and let's dive into the insights. First big update, a really interesting move. On April 2nd, 2025, Dfinity announced on X that ICP is becoming a platform for autonomous AI agents. These smart agents can manage tokens, analyze markets in real time, and even vote in DAOs, all directly on-chain. They also launched the Orbit platform with on-chain governance. And 89.98% of the community voted yes. Next up, a development that's seriously impressive. According to Dfinity's posts on X from March 9th, the updated ICP 2025 roadmap includes 40+ new features. Among them, AI integration into coding and smart contract optimization. On March 29th, they showed how Onyx AI deployed the DeepSeek model on ICP, 1.5 billion parameters in a 32-bit container. And here's another piece of news. On March 25th, Dfinity stated that ICP is becoming a platform where humans and AI co-write code for a self-building internet. Just imagine, apps that can't be hacked, can't be shut down, and are generated by AI. This is no longer fantasy, it's 2025 reality. So, just like XRP, ICP is showing it's not just a player, but a potential market leader. AI agents, a new roadmap, future-ready technologies, all of this works in favor of growth. Not financial advice, but in my opinion, ICP is ready to surprise us all. And that's it for now. Remember, these are just my thoughts on the market, not financial advice. Always do your own research before investing. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, hit the like button, and stay tuned for more coin reviews. See you at the top.